And Lindor takes a pitch, and it's ball 4, and the Mets will get the tying run to bat with Soto. Well, this is where the job that Huáscar Brazoban really comes into play. The fact that he was able to hold the Jays off the board for 7 outs and giving the Mets a chance now with their big boppers up in the 8th. And Soto punches one toward the middle, base hit. Lindor to second, he'll pull in there. Soto didn't get much of it, but he was able to float it past Jimenez into center field, and the Mets have the tying runs on base with nobody out.
Soto is pretty amazing. He is not swinging the bat well. He never was in that at bat and still produces a hit.
So the Mets get yet another opportunity with a runner in scoring position.
The ball was a sinker and it ran in on his hands, but still strong enough. And his teammates marvel at how strong he is to muscle at the center.
His own jam. Nimmo cracks one to center field, chasing Straw back, and Straw makes the catch, tagging at second Lindor. He'll go over to third. Nimmo hit it solidly, and on another night, maybe that flies over Straw's head, but not on this night.
Straw was playing awfully shallow, too, and he ran that down, showing his great defensive abilities.
So now 2 out, runners at the corners. Jesse Winker is due up, and he's going to bat for himself against the lefty. They have Tyrone Taylor and Luis Angel Acuna as right-hand batters on the bench, with Marte having already been used. Brandon Little got himself into this mess. Now he's a pitch away from getting himself out of it. And Winker drives one out to right field. Back goes Springer to the warning track, and he can't get it. It bounces away. In to score is Lindor. Soto scores to tie the game. Winker heads for third. He'll have his second triple of the night. Jesse Winker has tied the game with a 2-run, 3-base hit. What a night for Jesse Winker. A long triple off the fence and right. Springer is hurt. He chased that ball and it bounced away from him. He was able to pick it up in time to get it in to prevent the inside the park home run, but he is shaken. Jesse Winker had not had a triple since 2021. He's now got 2 tonight.
Hanging breaking ball from Little. Winker thought he got him. He was posing there, and I thought it was out of the park too, but it stayed in. And you see Springer almost like he banged his knee up against the fence, trying to make a miraculous catch, face plant as well. And by the time he got to it, down to his knees. Of course, Soto looking at it, he thought maybe he was gone too, and then he's got to get on his horse. But that ball got so far away from Springer, he scores easily as well.
I mean, the Jays were fortunate that Springer was able to have the presence of mind to pick that ball up. Otherwise, Winker might circle the bases and the Mets might have the lead. So a 2-run triple for Jesse Winker ties the game in the bottom of the 8th. They'll bring in the right-hander to face Vientos. We'll be right back to Citi Field. So now the go-ahead run is at third. 3-2 to Jimenez. Alejandro Kirk would be next. Struck him out. Got him with a slider. Diaz bends but does not break in the top of the 9th. He fans 3. And that'll get the Mets to bat in the bottom of the 9th in a tie game. That back foot slider has been his best pitch tonight. And he got Jimenez with it to get himself out of a jam. Three and 1 to Jose Siri. And that slider inside, ball 4. And the Mets have the potential winning run aboard with the speed of Siri. So now the question is, how able is Luis Torrens to swing the bat? He was a late scratch tonight because of a forearm contusion. Got hit on that forearm last night. 2-1 to Torrens. And that's up and away. And now it's 3-1. Lindor on deck, Soto behind him. This is the guy Sandlin wants to get out. So Torrens ought to get a pitch to hit here. Siri at second and 1 out. 3-1 coming. And Torrens lines it into left field. Falling fast. Roden has to play it on a hop. And Siri will be held at third. Torrens dumps a single into left field. And now the winning run is at third base with 1 out, and Lindor coming up.
Well, the ball off the end of the bat on the slider by Torrens, which made it a more difficult read for Siri. He didn't know how long it was going to stay in the air, so he had to be a little more conservative, which stops him from scoring.
John Schneider's going to take the ball from Nick Sandlin. He's going to bring his closer, Jeff Hoffman, into the game to try and get this game to extra innings. 2-2 game in the bottom of the ninth. The Mets have the winning run at third and 1 out. We'll be right back to Citi Field. Pitching against the Mets, Lindor 0 for 4 in the regular season against Hoffman. Mets are a fly ball away from a win, and so the Jays bring their outfield in shallow. Straw in center, Lucas and Wright both playing very shallow, and now they're bringing the left fielder Roden in close as well. The infield will be in as well because they can't assume they can get a double play on a ground ball from Lindor. Lindor with a double and a walk tonight. Siri the winning run at third. Torrens at first, 1 out. And Lindor gets a breaking ball and drills it to right center. Over comes the center fielder Straw. Tagging is Siri. He comes in to score, and the Mets have a walk-off win at Citi Field. Lindor wastes no time, jumps on a first pitch breaking ball and lines a sacrifice fly. The Mets win it 3-2. They've taken the first 2 games of this series. They've won 3 in a row, come from behind fashion tonight, 2 in the 8th and 1 in the 9th, and the Mets win it 3-2.
Well, what a game for the Mets to come back, really slumbering all game with the offense. But the key move really was manager Carlos Mendoza decided to stay with Jesse Winker, who had a couple of hits in the game against the left-hander Little. He comes through with a triple to tie the game that gets them to this win here in the 9th.
Edwin Diaz will get the win, but kudos to Huascar Brazoban, who put the Mets in position to win with 2 1/3 scoreless innings. As you watch Lindor get on that breaking ball and lift a sac fly to get the Mets a win.
Lindor coming around in this series with the bat. That series got too much speed. No chance, even though Straw got rid of it so quickly. Not a lot on that throw. And the Mets, a walk-off win.
Well, the Mets were stymied for most of the night by their old mate Chris Bassett, but they come through against the Toronto bullpen. Winker with 2 triples, his first triples in 4 years. The second one drove in the tying runs, and Lindor plates the winning run after Siri drew a 1-out walk. He comes around to score the winning run. Tonight's
Garcia walked 1 of the 3 batters he faced, but he was able to get out of the 7th.
Walked him on 4 pitches. What a top 3 of the order, huh? Lindor, Soto, Alonso. The 2-2. And a base hit into center for Soto. Lindor up to second.
He got jammed, but he's so strong he could fight it off. First time he's been on base tonight, and it comes here in the 8th inning. Just barely got it to the outfield. I don't know if he got jammed or hit it off the end of the bat, but he certainly didn't barrel it up. With runners in scoring position, they haven't been able to break through.
Driven deep right field. Off the wall. Springer's got to go get it. 2 runs will score. Winker is into third again, and this game is tied. Springer still down in right after the Winker triple. His second of the game has tied it. Straw over to look at him, and trainer Jose Ministral heading out to right field.
Well, that ball carried a long way. George kind of got turned around. Watch how he goes after this ball. Winker has hit the ball hard 3 times tonight. Springer gets all twisted around and eventually slams into the fence, but he's able to get up and get the ball back toward the infield. 2 runs will come in to score, and you can see he just ran full speed into that fence in center in right field. The ball is beyond his reach, and one more step and he crashes into the wall. He got twisted all around, never really got a good read on it. Brendan Little is back in the Blue Jays dugout. Nick Sandlin has come out of the bullpen.
We will step aside and update you as soon as we come back.
In this at bat.
About to throw his 24th pitch of the inning. It's 3-2. And he strikes out Jimenez to retire the side. On to the bottom of the 9th. But he will, misses in, and it's a 1-out walk for Siri.
He went with the slider, trying to catch that inside corner again, and it went around the plate. He's shadowing him very close there at second.
After Jimenez backs off, Siri gets pretty aggressive with the lead. 2-1. Ball 3. And it's Lindor next, and Soto after him. To left field and down for a base hit. Siri will be held at third, but the winning run is 90 feet away.
Siri had to hold up to make sure that ball was down safely in left field. Off the end of the bat, another slider. Roden plays it on a hop. Siri gets the stop sign from Mike Sarbaugh, the third base coach. And now here comes John Snyder out of the Blue Jays dugout.
And Jeff Hoffman is going to be coming in to try to get this game to extra innings.
George Springer in right. Tough assignment for Jeff Hoffman. See, the infield has to play in. Winning run is just 90 feet away.
And a guy who can really run in Siri. Lindor, obviously an extremely tough guy to double up, and the infield is more concerned about the runner at third right now. To center field. It'll be caught by Straw. Here comes Siri, and the Mets win it. They get 2 in the 8th to tie it, and they walk it off in the bottom of the 9th on a line drive sacrifice fly by Francisco Lindor. And that's a tough early season loss for the Blue Jays. A game in which they led for several innings, did a lot of things right, but just could not seal the deal.
And Lindor, he is just one of those players that gets it done. You can see Siri's going to score without a throw to the plate. And walking Jose Siri was really the issue. He walked him with nobody out, and then Torrens got a base hit. Siri was on second with a wild pitch, and everything kind of fell apart once Chris Bassett came out of the game. Bassett was terrific, 6 2/3 with 4 his no runs, didn't walk a batter. And the Blue Jays bullpen, that was the big difference in the game. They walk 3 batters after Bassett left, and the Mets take advantage and win it 3-2 to take the first 2 games of this series.
Blue Jays will just try to salvage the 3rd and final game tomorrow. We'll have it for you about Francis will be on the mound. For now, back to the studio with Jesse and Martinez.
Double to Nimmo. And that was the end of his night or day. The 3-0 to Lindor. Low ball 4. A 4-pitch walk. And John Schneider, I don't know if he chews gum. If he does, his jaws might lock. But either way, his stomach must be churning a little bit. Bring the guy in the 8th inning with a 2-run lead. Walks the leadoff man and now sees Juan Soto coming up. He's battled back from 2-0 and now it's 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Soto didn't like the last strike call, didn't like the one before that. He's going to see something to hit here. He knows it.
2-2 the count. Lindor short lead at first. Now the pitch to Soto. Swinging a little looper to the right side and on through. A base hit into center field. Lindor to second. He'll put on the brakes there. Soto with a base hit. And now the Mets have the matchup and the situation they want given the score of the game. It's Toronto 2, the Mets nothing. They don't have a left-hand hitter available. 1-0 now the pitch. Swinging a high fly ball to center field. Straw going back, still going. Makes the catch over his left shoulder for the second out. Lindor tags and goes to third. Soto retreats to first, and now there are 2 men away. He's gotten Winker twice with it in this duel. Now it's 1-2. Here's the pitch. Swinging a drive in the air to right field. Pretty well hit. Springer back onto the track in front of the wall. It hits the wall, stays in play. Springer shaken up. The ball on the warning track. The Mets are going to tie the game. Lindor and now Soto have scored. Winker digging for third, and he's in safely. No throw to third. It's a head-first slide and a 2-run triple for Jesse Winker. The Mets finally come through with a man in scoring position, and they have tied this game 2-2 here in the 8th inning.
Well, we got our answer as to why Carlos Mendoza wanted to keep Jesse Winker in. He is locked in. A double, 2 triples, and it was Little throwing that. We just talked about that little knuckle curve. Left on left, tough to read. He threw it. He got ahead, threw it again, and Winker said, I've seen it enough. He tattooed that ball to right. And speaking of, George Springer he's down on one knee out in right field, and John Schneider's coming out to make a pitching change. Oh, wow. Jesse Winker, what a night on a night where the Mets have done nothing in the way of driving in runs.
So this call to the bullpen is brought to you by the New York Lottery. Get out. 3-2 the count to Jimenez. 2 in scoring position with 2 out. Diaz delivers. Swung on and missed, strike 3. The slider down and in, and that retires the side. Diaz strikes out 3 and strands 2. 2 hits, 2 left, middle of the 9th. Blue Jays 2, Mets 2 on Odyssey Mets Radio, powered by the all-new Nissan Kicks. So 3-1. Sandlin ready. Here's the pitch. Inside with a breaking ball, ball 4. The winning run is on with 1 out. Remember, Siri's got good speed too. Luis Torrens will be the batter.
I can almost guarantee that Siri is going to be moving at some point. That's why he's here, is to steal bases and get in scoring position and use that speed. Remember the run he scored in Houston where he stole second, went over to third base on a fly ball and scored on that ground ball back to the pitcher. That's what he can do in a bottle. Tell you, I know Siri wants to go too. Sandlin has that slow lean back, and he's a side armor. Siri wants to steal third, but he probably shouldn't.
2-1 the count. Again, Lindor on deck. The pitch. Outside and high, 3-1. Were they counting the pitch clock down?
Yeah, that was like being at the Final Four basketball game with the shot clock winding down. You know, I'm surprised we have never heard that before in a building. But, yeah, they were counting down the pitch clock here on Sandlin.
Well, it's 3-1 now on Torrens as the countdown continues. Here's the pitch. Breaking ball hit into shallow left field. Will it drop? It does. Base hit. Siri had to hold up, and now he's being held up at third by Mike Sarbaugh. And on at first with a bloop single is Torrens. Well, you know, to your point, Siri sure wanted to try it, but it was hit shallow, and Roden got to the ball quickly enough so that with Lindor coming up and Soto behind him, you know, Siri just couldn't take a chance there. But now the winning run is at third. Runners at the corners, 1 out. And I think this is John Schneider coming to the mound. He may be going to Hoffman right here.
Siri came around, eyes up. Mike Sarbaugh was standing there looking at him, and all of a sudden Sarbaugh's hands just go up, and Siri hit the brakes like a Ferrari, slamming on the brakes.
So in comes Hoffman. This call to the bullpen is brought to you by the New York. Well, we are in the bottom of the 9th inning of a 2-2 game between the Mets and the Blue Jays. Jeff Hoffman comes on to pitch now for Toronto, and he comes on with Siri the winning run at third, and Luis Torrens at first with 2 out. Francisco Lindor coming up with Juan Soto behind him. Now Hoffman was originally drafted by the Blue Jays, bounced around a little bit, became a pretty dependable reliever with the Phillies. And remember last year when the Mets played the Phillies in the division series, when you look at it beforehand, the Phillies bullpen had been considered a strength, but the Mets really ate them up, and Hoffman in particular, and now the infield comes in, the outfield shortens up, and here is Lindor. Hoffman ready. Here's the first pitch. Breaking ball hit in the air to right center. Might get it done. Back goes Straw. Makes the catch. Siri tags. Here he comes. The throw to the plate cut off. Jimenez is not able to get a throw off. And so Siri scores standing. And the Mets win the ball game. Put it in the books. They come out of the dugout. And they're all over Francisco Lindor. Just beyond first base between first and second. He got just enough on that to deliver the sacrifice fly that gives the Mets a come-from-behind win, and they have taken the first 2 games of this 3-game series from the Toronto Blue Jays. In the 9th inning for New York, 1 run, 1 hit, no errors, 1 left. The final score, the New York Mets 3 and the Toronto Blue Jays 2. Back to talk about it in a moment on Odyssey Mets Radio, powered by the all-new Nissan Kicks.
3-0. Ball 4. Doesn't matter much if you don't throw him a strike. That's a leadoff walk. And now Juan Soto comes up representing the tying run.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to do that. I think I've said this enough this season and last season. When you're a reliever, you come into a ball game, you have to throw strikes, something Brendan Littlewith actually did struggle with a little bit last year. I'll be very happy with himself.
Those two weren't the worst, but they did appear about half an inch out of the zone.
You should ask Juan Soto how he feels about those two pitches.
I know how he feels. He's made that clear. 2-2. Swing and a liner through the middle of the infield and into center, a base hit. Quickly getting to it is Straw. That'll limit Lindor to just second. It's the first hit of the day for Soto. And the Mets have first and second here, nobody out.
That wasn't a terrible pitch from Brendan Little. But Juan Soto knows you're trying to find the strike zone. He knows that you don't want to throw something out of the strike zone with Pete Alonso standing in that on-deck circle. So he's ready for that fastball. He's ready for that middle-in sinker, and he got it.
Little's grinded in this inning. His 20th pitch. Hit high, deep right field. Springer back, and it's off the fence. Springer tumbling onto the warning track. In to score Lindor. Coming right behind him is Soto, and Winker has tied it up on his second triple of the day. Springer still down on a knee on the warning track. That one went off the top of the wall. Looked like Springer was in between trying to catch it and playing it off the fence. And by the time he went for it, he was really out of sorts, slammed into the fence, and the Mets get 2 runs to tie it up.
Yeah, that's a tough one right there. The pitch selection was the right selection. It was just the location. It was a knuckle curve right down the middle. Jesse Winker it looked like he was just waiting on that pitch. If the location was a little better, he probably would have swung through it. But that thing was right down Broadway, and he hammered that baseball off the wall in right field.
Jose Ministral, Blue Jays head athletic trainer, out into right field to check on George Springer, who just was not in time to get that ball.
Jesse Winker thought he got that one off the bat. Stood in the box and watched it for a second.
He nearly did, and he got enough of it to tie this game after 7 2/3 scoreless from Blue Jays pitching. Brendan Little surrenders 2 on the double, or pardon me, the triple. Winker on third in a pitching change, brought to you by Home Hardware. Cover all your project spaces with
Jimenez.
Now another wild pitcher pass ball, and you can take the lead. A single scores 2. The 3-2. Swing and a miss. Strike 3. Got him on the back foot slider, and Diaz works through trouble for 3 strikeouts and a scoreless 9th. 2-2 ball game. Go into the bottom of the 9th. You're listening to Blue Too Far, but the umpires didn't say anything. The 3-1. Inside, ball 4. Second walk of the day for Jose Siri. One of the guys in baseball who chases more than anyone, but patient in the right spots, and he represents the winning run. He's got a ton of speed, too.
Yeah, I would imagine that he would try to swipe second base at some point during this at-bat.
Even if you get Torrens, you got Francisco Lindor on deck. The 2-1. Fastball outside, ball 3. You can hear the factor of the crowd here as it gets late into the night in New York.
And that's why it's really important that you get Torrens here, because Francisco Lindor is on deck, and then you have Juan Soto after him. 2 very, very good hitters.
Runner on second, 1 out. 2-2 game, bottom 9. And the 3-1 is hit on a line. Left field, down for a base hit. Stop sign put up at third. And the throw back in quickly from Roden. Roden with maybe a little bit of a deke, like he could have caught it. And Siri wanted to watch it down. So a base hit doesn't yield a Mets win right now, but very dangerous. First and third with only 1 out.
Yeah, I think that's the right call by the third base coach there. It was kind of just a little blooper, and Alan Roden did a good job running in on that baseball. I'm pretty sure Jose Siri would have been out if they sent him there. And you also have Francisco Lindor coming up.
And with that, John Schneider is going to go to the closer here, looking for him to continue this game. Tough spot coming up for Jeff Hoffman. Thank you very much, Joe. Tough spot here for Jeff Hoffman. 2-2 game, bottom of the 9th. First and third for the Mets with 1 out. If Francisco Lindor hits a fly ball here, the game is likely over with the speed of Jose Siri at third. Hoffman looking for a strikeout of Lindor, and then an out against Juan Soto to get this one to extras. Right on left pitch. Hit well, right center field, caught by Straw. Siri tagging, the throw to the plate is late, and the Mets walk it off. Sac fly for Lindor wins it, and after Toronto led until 2 outs in the bottom of the 8th, they drop this one and the series 3-2, the final score tonight.
Well, that's a very, very tough loss for the Toronto Blue Jays. Chris Bassett carried this team into the 7th inning, didn't walk anybody. Didn't give up a run either through 6 2/3. Brendan Little came in, and right away you could tell that he was struggling with the energy in the building. He was struggling with the fastball through 6 straight balls to start his inning, and then he hung that breaking ball to Jesse Winker, and the game was over from there.
3-2, the final score in favor of the Mets. We'll take a quick step aside, come back, wrap it up, and get you over to Blue Jays Talk. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming on the Sportsnet app and the Sportsnet Radio Network.